Hello, so my name's Drew. I'm with TH3 CPA. Wanted to do a brief video here of how to set up QuickBooks Online for services-based business. So if you don't sell a physical product but sell services, this is just an overview of some things that we recommend on setting up a new QuickBooks Online file. So we just have 6 steps here. I'm not going to go in detail to all of these. I will show you on the chart of accounts of how to import those. And then, try to lay out a little bit here of what you'll need to do to set up. First thing is sign up for QuickBooks Online. The big question we ask, especially for services business, of do you need budgeting within QuickBooks or class tracking? So that would only come in the QuickBooks Online Plus version, where you'd be able to put in a budget or also track by class. Also inventory, but that doesn't really apply much for services businesses, and we don't love their inventory system either way. So that would be the big question of QuickBooks Online Plus or Essentials. Most services businesses can get away with Essentials. It's a lot cheaper, so over the lifetime you can always upgrade your account. So it would really mean we're going to input a budget right when we set up or do that. Or we're going to track by class. Again, that adds complexity, but some businesses will do that, and they definitely can if they want to. So that's the big question is, and you can't see it as much here, is which version of QuickBooks, Essentials or Plus. We do setups all the time for QuickBooks Online. It's just a one-time fee, one-time setup. It includes an hour screen share after we get it set up for any questions. But we can get a year discount on QuickBooks Online or Essentials. For the Plus, or QuickBooks Online Plus or Essentials for the Plus version, you save about $250 just in that first year. So it pays for half the setup fee almost of the Plus version. So the next thing we're going to do is when you go into QuickBooks Online, when you launch a new file, we want you to go to Advanced Settings. Now there'll be some setup questions, so you can follow through a few of those. So we can do that here. I've got this, tell us about your business. I'm just going to name it Services Business. I'm going to just call it Services. Use service. And this is hopefully, if you've been using desktop, that's another conversion, which we can do. But we're going to say no, we didn't use desktop there. So what do you like to do in QuickBooks? If you're a service business, you don't want to manage your inventory, retail sales, hours, paying your employees, unless you plan on using QuickBooks Payroll. We just uncheck that. We're big fans of Gusto due to their sync with QuickBooks and just the features you get for the price. Track sales taxes, I wouldn't do that either as a service business in QuickBooks. So track bills, invoices, okay. So you hit all set. So it's going to look like this when you come in. All right, so one thing, welcome service-based businesses. Okay, so what we're going to do, the next step is go to Advanced Settings, and we're going to turn on Chart of Accounts, or as far as account numbers. So let's go to Accountant Settings. And this would be where you can add your company name. I would go ahead and put your EIN in here, legal name, tax form, you don't necessarily have to do that, company email, company address. You'd want all this. This will also, you can upload a logo. You can actually have multiple logos now in QuickBooks Online, and then if you do plan on sending invoices in QuickBooks Online, you can you'd be able to create invoices that have your logo and address and everything on them. And then what we're asking first is go to Advanced, and then if you look at this, enable account numbers, just hit yes on, and then show account numbers and hit save. If you are using QuickBooks Online Plus, which this is a Plus version, you can track classes. You can turn that on by just hitting on. They have a project, which I don't think you'll need really. That works a lot with nonprofits and other things. It's a newer feature in QuickBooks, but you definitely want to turn. Account numbers are good just because it keeps it organized. It keeps your accounts in order. It's easier to code once you start to learn the main accounts, those kind of things. So if you go in there and then just hit done there, so I would put in your business name, address, and then also get set up with that. The other thing to do would be, and you don't have to do this right away, but we like to do it just right on the setup, is whether you think you'll ever use it or not, I just encourage everyone to do this because it's easy to do. It doesn't take long. But right in that accountant settings is a payments. It'll say payments. And so this is Intuit Payments account, meaning like their credit card or ACH processing. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes to apply, but it's free. There's no monthly fee to it. ACH, so if you send an invoice and select someone can pay you online via ACH, meaning their bank account, they can put in their routing checking number and then pay your invoice. It's completely free in QuickBooks Online with their payments. And so you can go here to learn more. You can also select to take credit cards. And so whenever you send an invoice out, if you do use QuickBooks invoicing for anything, it will they can pay via card, and it records everything in QuickBooks for you. And so it just makes it easy. So we like to recommend anyone just sign up for it just to have it. Again, there's no fee. There's nothing associated with that. It's only if you use it. And if you do want to use it, it can be free if you just select, people can pay online via ACH if you ever need to send an invoice out to anyone. So we're here now. So you've got that. If you do want to start with the payments, I say, we say go ahead and sign up for that. The next step is your chart of accounts. Now QuickBooks is going to come with a default chart of accounts. So if you go to accounting and go to chart of accounts here, it's just going to bring in a chart of accounts for you. See your chart of accounts. We're not big fans of their chart of accounts. Notice they don't have numbers. It's kind of just really basic. So it brings in some defaults accounts. So what we do, the first step is we have a separate chart of accounts that we like to use for service businesses. If you sell an e-commerce or products, we have other chart of accounts for that. So we like to customize a chart of accounts a bit for a business before bringing it in, but we like to build out a little bit more robust chart of accounts that would both allow for simplicity where you'd be able to summarize your books, but then also complexity where it would expand if needed into more detail. And I'll explain a little bit more of the overview there, but the first thing we want to do is just start going in and making these inactive. There's no way that we know of to just get rid of these from the start. And so what we do is make inactive. Now there's a few in here like retained earnings, inventory, some of these that are tied to they just come default in QuickBooks like this one, so you can't delete it. And so let me just see if I can do this. Inactive, yeah. So what we like to do is I just go down the list and we're just going to make anything that we can. I think services we can't. Anything that we can, we like to make inactive. So, because we're going to bring all this in here in a new chart of accounts. So we just do this. Inactive is it kind of deleting. Nothing really gets deleted, but they won't show up anymore, and they're in there. You can always display inactive and relaunch them. But what we'll do is go through down here and make all these inactive, and then I'll pick up once I finish that. Okay, we're back. As you see, I've made everything that we're able to inactive. So you just have these few accounts here in your chart of accounts. You get up to 250 accounts. We won't have near that much before you have to upgrade to the advanced version of QuickBooks. I think Essentials is the same amount, 250, but that was something within the last year that QuickBooks launched. So what I have here is a chart of accounts template we use with services businesses. And so I'll just briefly explain it, and then we're going to import it. Again, some of these you may never use, but what we've done is build what's called parent accounts. And so, meaning you can have sub-accounts underneath the parent accounts. And so it allows you on the reports to, if you just want to see an overview of income, personnel expenses, administrative expenses, equipment expenses, facilities, like those big numbers, you can sum a report with just those, or it can expand to more detail because the details can help you more. So we like to, instead of constantly adding new accounts, just put in a chart of accounts that you won't have to add much to it. I mean, every business may have a few customizable items with it, but we like to put something in there that makes it clear, makes it simple, makes it easy to get both simplicity but also have the information needed to be able to really look at your business. So this is where we have cash. These are organized based on normal historic chart of accounts. Stupid accounting rules, but they are just kind of they've come through, which help organize it. Like the 2300, 2000s would be the liabilities. So balance sheet is here, and then we go to the profit and loss statement where income's all in the 4000s, personnel's in the 5s. Then you have client billable expenses. This is exclusive to mostly service businesses. If you're billing back clients, you can put them there. Direct costs, client direct costs. So this would be if you want to track things directly that you're not billing back, but just are like direct costs for client work. Then we have facilities, rent, utilities, janitorial service, repairs and maintenance, equipment. If you're buying any sort of equipment for the business, to summarize those, and then general administrative. So this would be all your other items here, and these are organized to optimize taxes for your tax accountant to be able to grab the information they would need from QuickBooks at the end of the year to really make sure they're able to complete the tax return quickly. When we talk about tax-ready books, it'd be organizing things in such a way that makes it easier on the tax side. And so we try and do that here with the way that we organize this. And then finally, we have owner compensation. So if you're an owner of the service businesses, if you're a partner, if you're on payroll, that would mean most likely you're treated as S Corp or your C Corp or something. This would be where we designate where the owner's salary, their compensation is down here, just because that passes through on the tax side. And so we want to make sure that we can detail that out to look at where the owner is as far as their income side. So so we've got that here. And again, with payroll services, I don't know if you're there yet, but we have most of our clients on Gusto. We've used other services, but Gusto's our absolute favorite, and we're not just saying that because we're gold partners with Gusto, but we really do think it's the best product out there for the price. $39 plus $6 per employee a month, full service payroll, great support. It works seamlessly with QuickBooks Online. We can map all of those things, so you can, if you want to break out your employees by categories, like groups of different types of staff, you can do that very easily. Then it can also sync over straight the owner compensation, all that stuff. So it makes it really simple and reduces any sort of bookkeeping work for you. But that's how we've set up the chart of accounts. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and download this from here. So this is Google Drive, so I'm going to save it as Excel. All right, and then I'm going to go in here and hit import. So I'm in accounting, chart of accounts, right here, chart of accounts, and once I've deleted those, I'm going to hit import. And then I'm going to browse and upload the file. I may have to do this in CSV now that I think about it. No, it doesn't. Okay, so we set this up. We mapped our chart of accounts exactly how QuickBooks imports it. We'll put a link to this to download the chart of accounts. If you want to see our services chart of accounts and download it, you can import it yourself. And so I'm just going to hit next. And so it's going to bring up all the accounts here. And I'm going to just go through, make sure everything looks good. Import. And what QuickBooks is going to do is bring those in as your new chart of accounts. You'll still have those few old accounts that were there. There's already an inventory, so we'll just select that. Okay. So there's already inventory. There's already inventory default. So what we'll do is just X out of this and just remember 1300 is the number for inventory. So here's your new chart of accounts. It's all organized by number. And then I'm going to look up inventory. See how this is a default, so that's why I didn't bring that one in. And what I'm going to do is just put the same number that we had in this sheet, the Google Drive sheet here. Okay, so we've got that there. So we have your new chart of accounts is in here, and so this is see these sub accounts underneath them. So this allows you in reports to summarize everything. It will total them. but then also we'll break things out for you a little bit better. So we've got services income, refunds, other income, interest, miscellaneous income, personnel here, client billable expenses. So you can see how this laid out a little bit, facility, all the things underneath. So the goal is when you're categorizing, you're not putting anything to like 7,000 facility, but you're putting it to a sub account. And then when you run a report, it will total facilities expenses for you. Same thing with all of these. Nothing goes just to general admin, but they would go to an account underneath here. And so all of these summarize, and it can summarize a report very easily. Let me see if it'll let me run a report here so I can show you. It may not because I don't have any numbers. So if I go and I want to run a profit and loss, let me just do all. There's nothing in there, so that's why. But as soon as you do that, you'd be able to see this, and then you can hit collapse here, and it'll summarize it for you just to those parent accounts. So it makes it really easy on that side. So we've got that chart of accounts. The next step is to connect your business bank feeds and business credit cards. And so I'll just show you here in QuickBooks Online. So once we have a chart of accounts, we're going to start connecting things. So we're going to go here to automate income expense tracking, connect account. So at this point is where you would have your business bank account login and your business credit card login. One thing what we just really encourage is to use a business bank that has a good connection with QuickBooks Online, and to use a business credit card that as well has a good connection with QuickBooks Online. It's just more work if your bank doesn't connect, or you're going to have to download a CSV and upload into QuickBooks. You can do that. But again, the real-time ability for it to fetch your transactions is just can save a lot of time, both on the credit card and on the bank accounts. And so what you would do is, say you had Chase or whatever, you can just type in your bank name here, and it's going to tell you, it's going to lead you through connecting. One thing, if you have a business PayPal account that is a bank account, it is a business bank account. It should be, on your books as a bank account for a business PayPal account. So if you don't have one, that's an easy setup too on business PayPal. But one thing to consider, depending on if you're doing all kinds of things through PayPal, sometimes it's not best to sync PayPal just because PayPal gets very complex. But if you say, you've got 10 or 15 transactions a month or something or on PayPal, then go ahead and connect PayPal as well. So you do the same process for your bank account and credit card. Once you do this once, it's going to take you to the, when you go to the banking screen, you won't see this. You'll see that account. Then you'll see a green button over on the right that will ask you to, if you want to add another credit card or bank account. Just as a general rule, some of our recommendations to have two business bank accounts. You could have a checking and savings, and then one credit card, a business card. What we see a lot is some people have 8 different business cards. They like the miles and the points. They're always transferring between, and it just becomes an administrative nightmare. So if you have a business, we love the Capital One Spark Business Visa. It's 2% unlimited cash back on everything. So it's got a great sync with QuickBooks Online. That's one that we've got a lot of clients on. But the general rule would just be try and have just one business checking, one business savings account, and a business credit card. If you're using your personal cards or bank accounts for the business, it gets so complicated, and then when you're talking about you miss things that should be business expenses deductible that aren't, it just gets so convoluted. So if you need money out of the business as an owner, you can take money from the business as an owner, and that's an easy thing to track. But if you're using your personal your personal credit cards or your personal bank account for business stuff, we just say stop right there, get a business bank account, get a business credit card, and run it there. We like to say just set the business credit card to auto pay so you're not carrying a balance, anything else, where it will just pay the full balance when it's due every month. It transfers straight from your business bank account. If you're able to do that, that's when we'd recommend having a business credit card and then putting everything possible on that business card that's a business expense, because 2% cash back over time If you're not carrying a balance, there's no fees. And so it can really help a business if you're buying supplies and all those things on there. So connect both bank feeds, business credit cards, and then the next step is to set up automation. So once you have business bank accounts connected and your credit cards, what it's going to do is QuickBooks is going to bring in these transactions under banking, and it's going to say for review. So there'll be a lot of transactions you'll see that'll say for review. For review means QuickBooks has brought these in from your bank accounts and they need you to tell it where to go, meaning it needs to have a customer or vendor and it needs to have a proper account to go to. And so before you hit, you'll see an add button over here for all these. But before you do that, it's QuickBooks saying, hey, these aren't on your books yet. I need you to tell me where to put them, how to categorize these, who you paid or who you received money from. And there's something called rules in QuickBooks Online, and we can maybe do another video on that later. But where you can say, okay, anytime, say you use MailChimp for your email list, you can say anytime the bank text the imported transaction for MailChimp reads MailChimp or this, then put this to MailChimp software expenses. And so what QuickBooks will do is anytime it reads that coming in from your bank account, it'll automatically classify that to software for you. You can either review it or you can just have it automatically do that, but it's a game changer with automation with QuickBooks Online. And so the way that you're able to set up recurring things or regular things and just automate the bookkeeping side is pretty incredible, but you also have to know what you're doing a little bit with it or it can get really messed up. And so, but that would be the next step, is to set rules. Set up automation. There's other things, bill pay software that'll automatically print and mail your check for you for no fee. It'll syncs with QuickBooks Online. You can ACH anyone. There's all kinds of things that can help automate little things that can save hours on administrative time for businesses. And so we like to help set those up. But that's our encouragement, is to look into that, rules, QuickBooks Online. Automation on payroll is a big thing. You don't want to be doing payroll entries, nor do you want to be paying payroll taxes for going in every quarter and doing that. Where full service payroll is very inexpensive compared to what you can get, and just the ease that it gives on knowing that stuff's all taken care of. Finally, is just monthly bookkeeping, but this would be on the setup, is making sure your beginning balances are correct. So say we're in May right now. But say I was bringing in, trying to set up QuickBooks for the year. What this will do is bring in probably about 90 days of transactions from my bank account and credit card. So what I need to do is make sure all transactions from January 1 through May, through today are on the books and then are coded appropriately. And so there's ways you can do that with a CSV download from your bank account and credit card for those missed dates that it doesn't bring in. Where we can upload those and it will bring it in so you can categorize. The other thing to do is to make a year-end entry. We do this on a lot of setups. If they have a year-end balance sheet from the previous year, is where we can enter those year-end balances that was on your books, just so you're starting off right. Where the balance sheet, meaning where your cash is, any accounts receivable, accounts payable, the equity. Those kind of things are all properly recorded for the year. So when you start, you're good to go moving forward. And so that's the kind of the final step. And that takes a little bit of tweaking just to make sure everything's right. But then it gets into a monthly rhythm of reconciling the bank accounts and credit cards, especially if you have bank feeds, where you would go in here every month and you would hit reconcile. So after everything was coded in the for review for the month, what you're doing is matching what you have in QuickBooks Online with what your bank statement and credit card statement says. QuickBooks makes this extremely easy if you're using the bank feeds, where all you need is the bank statement, enter the ending balance from that statement, make sure the beginning balance is right, and then you can confirm whether your books match or if there's something wrong in your books. This is the easiest way to find errors. It's the easiest way to have tax-ready books, is to make sure things are going to the right place, and that they are reconciled, agreed out, where your books aren't just this complete mess that you're jumbling together or just handing someone at the end of the year, but you've got those things reconciled out, where there may be a few things you have to reclassify at the end of the year, but in all, your credit card and business bank account agrees. So, all right, those are the 6 steps to getting set up on QuickBooks Online. I hope that's helpful. Getting a new chart of accounts, some of those basic overviews. Let us know if you're interested. We do setups all the time we do it for a lot of e-commerce companies, for service-based businesses. We can save hours and hours of admin time by just helping set up rules, get set up, make some recommendations, think through your bill pay system, think through payroll, all that stuff that we can connect it all and make it a streamlined, efficient system. And so if you're interested, please reach out to us, th3cpa.com. Hopefully this has been helpful. We'll, again, try and post a link to where you can download the Service Businesses Chart of Accounts and this overview sheet. All right, thanks.